Welcome to Spirits and Screams.
Hey guys, welcome to Spirits and Screams. I'm your host Karen. Tonight I'm going to tell you about 10 creepy supernatural horror movies from the 70s that I think would be perfect for you to watch this summer. Okay, first off, To the Devil a Daughter from 1976. To the Devil a Daughter from 1976. An American occult novelist battles to save the soul of a young girl from a group of Satanists, led by an excommunicated priest who plan on using her as a representative of the devil on Earth. Directed by Peter Sykes, starring Richard Widmark and Christopher Lee. To the Devil a Daughter from 1976 is visually stunning. The close-up shots with the eye expressions really touches on your emotions and makes it very personal. It's got amazing acting. You know, at an hour and 30 minutes or so, it just zips by so fast. But Christopher Lee is legend. Oh my goodness. I mean, what a presence he has. Always does in the films that he did. And it has such a 70s feel to it with the sets, the props, the clothing, the hairstyles, all of it. It really gives me vibes of the OG, The Omen, which I loved so much back in the day, as well as Rosemary's Baby. It has a realistic feel to it, but it's kind of batshit crazy, you know. And those kinds of stories really scare me because you get really invested into it and you start looking over your shoulder thinking stuff's going to happen to you too. But yeah, it's kind of got that feel. And I guess in that way, it's kind of a thriller horror if you like that kind of thing. I really do. And it's very cleanly choreographed, which I think is what makes it so visually stunning. We have these nuns and they're wearing the old habits. And there's a young girl and she's a nun and she's taking a break going home to visit dad. And things are kind of strange and weird, you know, but it's her like annual birthday thing that she does every year. But there's something weird, you know, right up front going on with the family, and there's like people chasing her, and it's kind of strange. You know, there's going to be some kind of bad stuff coming, but you're just not sure at the beginning. There's talk of Satanism, and there's a really creepy birth scene that's absolutely terrifying and disturbing. I know my friend Nye will love this movie if she hasn't seen it yet. Nye, you need to watch this movie. But if you're not cool with that, then maybe you'd want to skip this one. I don't know. I liked it, though. It was really well done. And there's also a really cool cross image that's very disturbing. That's all I'm going to say. It's got very old school practical, you know, effects, and I love that. I've said that before. I absolutely love movies with that, so it's definitely got that. Very, very fun. So overall, this one is entertaining. It's creepy. It's gorgeous. It's really gorgeously filmed. I really appreciate those kinds of movies. And twisted all at the same time. And if you're into that kind of thing, then I highly recommend that you watch it. Next up, we have The Manitou from 1978. The Manitou from 1978. A psychic recruits a witch doctor to get a 400-year-old Indian medicine man off his girlfriend's back. Directed by William Girdler, starring Tony Curtis and Susan Strasberg. I have a story to tell you about this one too, from back in the day when it first came out. I'm going to try not to talk too long about this one because there's a lot to it, but I'll try to keep it short so that I can get to all the films, and this video is not 3 hours long. This one is really kooky. It's just under 2 hours, and it's kind of a slow burn. So if that's not your thing, then, you know, definitely skip it, but I really enjoyed it. It's kind of like a horror drama, I feel, and yeah, it's really good. It took me a few years to watch this one though, and here's why. When I was a kid, I went and visited my cousin And she was a bit older than me, a teenager, and I was like probably 10 or something like that. And she went with her friends to go see this one at the theater. And when she came home, she described it in detail, said it was so scary. Needless to say, I couldn't sleep for the whole visit. I just couldn't sleep. I was so scared of this whole thing. I hadn't even seen it, but the way she described it, it was just so weird and creepy and icky and scary. So a couple of years ago, I finally decided, oh yeah, that movie, I'm going to check it out. Because of the fact there was another movie that came out that was very similar to it. And that movie was Malignant from 2021. I saw that movie and thought, totally reminds me of the Manitou. And that was my moment where I thought, I better watch the Manitou now just to make sure that, it's the same kind of thing. It's kind of science fiction-y too, a little bit in the middle. Kind of like The Entity is science fiction-y, if you will. And the lead character's name is Karen, which is probably a large part of why I was so scared of this when I was young. It has very young Tony Curtis and Susan Strasberg, which is cool. That kind of flashes me back to that time period, so that's fun. Very 70s looking as well. The costumes, the sets, the way they talk, all of that. It's got really cringy 70s kind of music playing throughout the whole thing though, which I don't know, sometimes that's hit or miss for me. I guess it's nostalgic, but it kind of draws me out of the movie sometimes, but it is what it is. That's what they chose to do. So, whatever. And it's set, I think, in San Francisco because they have streetcars and, the really hilly streets and the views of the ocean and stuff like that. I loved that when I was a kid. So what's happening in this one is Karen, our lead character, she's got this, growth on the back of her neck that's growing exponentially fast. And it ends up being this ancient Indian entity, Algonquin. And it's called a Manitou, right? So they learn all about this. We learn stuff through tarot card readings and that kind of thing, so that's kind of fun. And they're researching it, trying to figure it out. And anytime they try to do surgery on it to get rid of it, all hell breaks loose, and it's pretty cool. There's lots of very psychedelic kind of 70s scenes that happen, but it's fun. It's very nostalgic. So there's this crazy scene of this lady floating down the hallway in a really kind of tacky way, but it's kind of neat. It's kind of creepy actually. And she says the words Pana Witchy Salatu, which translates into, what is it? My death foretells my return kind of thing. So it's like this ancient Indian god or something coming back and, terrorizing everything, like a curse type of deal. So yeah, really fun. And you know what? When you really think about it, think of me being 10 years old, learning that in the dark, someone talking about it in a scary way and forcing me to listen to it. That'd be scary, right? I think anyone would be scared, especially back then. And of course, we have Burgess Meredith in this movie. I love him so much. I do. He's been in so many movies that I've talked about, and yeah, he's a professor of anthropology, so he's there to explain things to them about what's going on. The story that they do is a little kind of convoluted. It's a bit of a hot mess because they're using different sorts of belief systems and things and putting them all together. But because it was 70s and it's kind of kooky, it kind of works. What they conclude or find out is that it's like this ancient 400-year-old medicine man. So the only way they can save Karen is to get another medicine man to come back and fight it that way. The only way they can do it. There ends up being a weird possession type of scene because it's kind of like something demonic as well, but it's with the native lair, if you will, and it's really, really creepy, the scenes. And there's a rebirth kind of scene. And yet again, this would be another movie that my friend and I would really love because it's really twisted and weird. But, pretty scary when you start thinking about it. I think that the parts of it that maybe weren't as scary for me is the fact that it's sort of a slow burn. So you have time to come around to all of the parts. But when you take a step back and you think about the whole story afterwards, it's kind of scary. And for a 10-year-old, it would have been really scary. Practical effects, again, are very good. And some of it's a bit hokey, though. I gotta admit, but kind of fun. The contact lenses that they use in this one are amazing. I found back then, I don't know, maybe because they didn't have the technology they do now, they had to make more effort with it. Some of the eyes, contact lenses, were so good. So well done. I'm sure they weren't comfortable to wear back then, but really good, really cool. I really like that. There's also a scene of like a frozen wing in the hospital, you know, and it kind of gave me the vibes of Logan's Run quite a bit. There's also some stuff that gave me Twilight Zone vibes too. you know. Yeah. So overall, slow burn, really fun. I'm super glad that I watched it finally after all these years and faced my fear. I'm sure if I had watched it back when I was 10, it would have freaked me out, especially if I'd seen it in the movies at the theater. Oh my God. It's quirky, silly, fun. That's all I can say. And definitely check it out. It's one I want to add to my collection for sure, because it's kind of a moment in time that I want to remember. Next up, we have another one from 1978 that I thought was good, The Evil. The Evil from 1978. A psychologist and his wife turn a house of the devil into a drug rehab center. Directed by Gus Triconis, starring Richard Crenna and Victor Buono. And I just gotta say up front, I really love the cover poster. So iconic. I hope to get that one day and have it in my collection because I think it's really neat. And this one's a basic haunted house story. Really cool house that they chose to use, high ceilings, stained glass windows, all that kind of stuff. You get a bunch of 70s people that kind of get into this house looking very 70s, which is cool. And they get stuck there, they get trapped there. And there ends up being the devil shows up in the basement. So, you know, all the fun kind of stuff. Very, not super terrifying, scary, but kind of fun movie to have in the background when you're doing stuff, watching it. Not too hard to follow along, but very classic 70s. And we've got a great cast. We've got Richard Crenna, who's very classic to that time period. I think I watched a lot of stuff with him in it, actually. Cassie Yates as well, and Victor Buono, I think that's how you say his name. He plays the devil, does a great job of it too. He's very quirky. If you've seen him before, you'll know who he is for sure. But he does a really great job of it. That whole scene kind of gave me Star Trek vibes. I liked it. I liked it for that. We've got quirky music throughout this one as well. I don't know why they always chose to do that, but it was a thing. Very classic. And you've got these people trapped in this space and they can't get out, and there's invisible forces kind of terrorizing them and whatnot. So that's building lots of tension. I love movies like that where you have all the characters have to come together from different walks of life, come together and try to problem solve something in a life or death kind of matter. And you've got different opinions and ideas and things. So that in itself creates a lot of chaos and tension, as well as what's going on, with them. And I think those are really fun kind of stories because it makes me kind of want to figure stuff out as they go as well. And I love problem solving stuff and coming up with my own ideas and scenarios of what would work and what they should do and what they shouldn't do and that kind of thing. I think that's a lot of fun. We definitely have a lot of hokey kinds of effects and things, but I think this one's more about the characters and the story that they're telling and the problem that they're trying to solve. And there's debates on why the devil's there and how the devil feels against the human race and all that kind of thing, and what people should do to kind of get out of this situation. It's interesting how they portray the devil because they have sort of a white space, with smoke, and the devil is dressed in a white suit with blue eyes and trying to trick them and make them kind of debate out the situation, and basically trying to prove that humans are stupid and useless and can't do anything right. And it's kind of neat. And then as things go in the different direction. The devil becomes more ugly and everything kind of changes. So I thought that was really fun too. It's really a movie that kind of makes you think about stuff like that, as opposed to just everything being kind of straightforward for you. And so I think that's kind of what the people are going through, is that debate of how to solve things, what to choose, and they're kind of portraying that in the movie too, in the story. I love those kinds of movies, you know I do. This one, like I said, it's a little hokey in the imagery, but the idea and the concepts behind the film are quite intriguing in my opinion. In any case, I think this one's underrated, and I definitely think you should check it out. Next up, we have a really good one that I really enjoyed watching, and that would be the Norliss Tapes from 1973. The Norliss Tapes from 1973. David Norliss is a reporter hard at work on a book he hopes will debunk many supposed supernatural and occult phenomena as hoaxes, until he meets Ellen Court and everything gets turned upside down. Directed by Dan Curtis, starring Roy Fiennes and Angie Dickinson. A viewer recommended that I watch this one quite a while ago when I did my review of Kolchak the Night Stalker, which I loved very much. And remember, I told you guys I watched that one when I was 5. And it was sort of my introduction into horror. Well, he told me to watch this movie, and I was not disappointed. This is a really good one. This was supposed to be a pilot movie to get a series going of this called the Norliss Tapes that would carry on with these characters, and it got canceled after that, and it just never happened. And I'm sad about that, because I really think this would have been a fun series to watch. And it's just a shame. And I don't know, maybe one day if someone kind of picks up and does this again, recreates it in modern day times now and does it could be really fun. Or I don't know, have it set back in the 70s. But to me, it just had the potential to be something really awesome. They could have done a lot of really cool stories with it, but yeah, unfortunately it got canceled, so that sucks. But this movie was really good. It definitely has vibes of The X-Files and Millennium, which two shows absolutely loved. And yeah, it's got that. It's very quirky, Definitely Kolchak kind of vibes too, with the monster that they have in this one. And yeah, I really wish it would have carried on, but oh well. I guess that's how things go sometimes. So basically we have this reporter, and he's trying to debunk the supernatural. He's writing a book, and he's going around investigating and interviewing people about different occurrences that are strange, that nobody can explain. And on one case, he ends up going missing, and they can't find him. All that's left is this audio tape with all of his interviews and recordings and all that kind of stuff on it. And that's how they tell the story, through this audio tape. And he goes on the lookout. This woman, her husband disappeared, and there's stuff to do with the occult and whatnot, and she can't find him. And he gets very close to the woman, and lots of strange things start to happen. So the practical effects are very cool. We have the cool contact lenses going on, and the makeup and that kind of thing. It's very quirky, very much has the feel of it being a TV series, and it's got Kolchak vibes, you know, that kind of a storyline. But it would have been a really fun one to check out and see. It's just really unfortunate it didn't happen, but I really recommend that you check this one out. The movie was really well done. I really want to thank my viewer for recommending it, because bang on, man, like this is right up my alley for sure. I probably should do more of an in-depth deep dive of this one at some point, and maybe I will, just because there's probably more stuff to uncover about it and what happened to it and why it didn't happen and all of that. Next up, we have Beyond the Door from 1974. Beyond the Door from 1974. A pregnant woman's devil child can move furniture, open doors, and make its mother's head spin. Directed by Ovidio Giasantis and Roberto de Tor Piazzoli, starring Juliette Mills and Richard Johnson. Well, I put out there that I wanted to find some more kinds of exorcist-ish movies that would be a lot of fun and are really scary. And my good friend Hobbs from Hobbs Horror suggested that I watch this one, that it terrified him as a kid. And rightly so. This one's freaky, man. This one's scary. If I was alone at night, middle of the night, got bored, watched this movie, I would have nightmares. I'd be pretty scared, I gotta say. The effects and stuff with the possession scene and whatnot is really freaky. And I guess I should say this one's an Italian horror movie, and it was inspired by The Exorcist. Got into a lot of trouble for that because of different things that they used, which seems kind of weird to me when you watch it, because it's nothing like The Exorcist at all. Not at all. But they have like cans of pea soup that they're eating, but they make little jokey references and stuff like that. And it's someone that's possessed, but it's not like that at all. Not at all. So I don't know why that happened. That's kind of crazy. But if you're into possession type of films that are like from the 70s, quirky, has that Italian vibe, with it gorgeously shot, right? You got to check this one out because it's really, really good. And in my opinion, it's very scary. Very scary. Those scenes, the practical effects, oh my God, just terrifying. This one's also known as Devil Within Her. And it basically is about this woman who's pregnant. She gets possessed, and her and her husband have these 2 kids, a son and a daughter together. So all of that's involved in this too. So that makes it really scary as well, especially if you watch this when you were younger, for sure. And there's like amazing practical effects, the levitation scenes, the vomiting, all of that is just grotesque and terrifying. It really is. The voices that they use that come out of her is really, really scary. There's a plot twist kind of ending. And it's just so good. It's just such a good film. I'd love to get that one for my collection too. And I really would love for you guys to watch it and let me know what you think, and we can chat about it, because it's just one of those crazy films. I'd love to hear from some of you that saw it back in the day when it first came out. I didn't even know anything about it until my friend told me about it like a year ago or something like that. And yeah, anyways, this is a good one. Next one up is The Sentinel from 1977. Now, I did a deep dive review of this one already, but I love this one so much I had to include it in this lineup because I think it's really fun and it really fits. The Sentinel from 1977. A New York model with a troubled past decides to make some changes in her life. She moves to an apartment building that houses some eccentric tenants, leading to uncovering the building's sinister secrets. Directed by Michael Winner, starring Chris Sarandon and Christina Rains. This one is so weird and twisted and creepy and awesome that I recommend everybody check this one out if you haven't already. It was so good watching it back in the day, because I did, and I watched it years later in the 80s as well. And getting to watch it more recently, it still holds up. It's such a good one, you guys. You got to check it out. This one's got a huge, huge star-studded cast. We've got Christina Rains, Chris Sarandon, Burgess Meredith, Beverly D'Angelo, The Scene, if you know, you know. And Jeff Goldblum, a young Jeff Goldblum even. Amazing. You know that Jeff's one of my favorite actors of all time. He really is. This movie is just so incredible. It's got so much stuff going on for it. It's just amazing. So this one's basically about a model, and she is with her boyfriend, Chris Sarandon, but she's not sure about whether to stay with him or not. There's some weird stuff from her past. And she decides she wants to get a place on her own. So she finds this house, this huge house, right? And it's affordable. She can do it. The only catch is there's this person, this little elderly person upstairs that she has to just leave alone and not bother. Ends up being this really weird twisted thing of the Sentinel, you know, this person that kind of guards the gates of hell from spirits coming out. And this place is not what it seems. And she learns all of that the hard way, and there's a lot of trials and tribulations that she goes through. Lots of weird decisions with her and her boyfriend, and we learn all sorts of things, and the imagery, the storylines, the Characters are so phenomenal. There's some controversial stuff in it as well. Choices made by the director that were a little crazy, but it's just such an awesome movie. It's so good, you know? You could talk about it in depth forever. There's so much stuff going on. But yeah, it's creepy as hell, and I really recommend it. And if you want to hear more about what I think, go check out my deep dive review of the Sentinel that's on my channel, and let me know, what you think of it if you haven't seen it yet, or if you have seen it, drop your comments and we'll chat about it. Next up, yet another one from 1978, The Fury. The Fury from 1978. A former CIA agent uses the talents of a young psychic to help retrieve his telekinetic son from a shadowy secret government agency. Directed by Brian De Palma, starring Kirk Douglas and Amy Irving. This one stars a young Kirk Douglas, John Cassavetes, and Amy Irving. So it's a great cast. Really, really well put together. I didn't watch this one back in the day. I watched it more recently, but I really enjoyed it. So basically we have a ex-CIA agent whose son has gone missing. The son is telekinetic, and he uses the help of a psychic to get his son back because he's being taken away by crooked government agents, that are trying to do something sinister. So that's the basic story of it. So Amy Irving plays the psychic girl, and she's struggling with her powers, and it's kind of a battle to go through to try to figure this thing out. I remember her in the movie, what was it called? The Mystery of Anna. The story about Anastasia Romanov, the daughter of the Tsar of Russia. Do you remember that movie? I loved that so much. I remember watching that when I was probably grade 12 or something like that, and just being captivated by the whole thing and just falling in love with it. Really liked it. She was so good in that, and she's good in this one too. This one's kind of a slow burn, and it's more of a supernatural thriller, I would say. But you get captivated in the story, and it's a really good watch. I recommend that you check it out. The Living Dead at the Manchester Morgue from 1974. A cop chases two hippies suspected of a series of murders. Unbeknownst to him, the real culprits are the living dead. Directed by George Grau and starring Christina Galbo and Ray Lovelock. Next up is an awesome one. The Living Dead at the Manchester Morgue from 1974, also known as Let Sleeping Corpses Lie. Man, I just watched this recently. This one's super underrated. It's definitely a zombie kind of film. The practical effects and the look and the contact lenses, like I said, oh my God, it's terrifying. And it's so beautifully filmed. It's such a good movie. Can't even believe I never saw it before, but I'm really glad I found it and got to check it out. This movie was co-produced in Spain and Italy. Definitely has that feel to it. We've got our two characters, George and Edna. They are traveling together and come across this small town that's infested with cannibalistic zombies. It sounds really crazy, but it's done in a really realistic sort of way with practical effects that it's pretty scary. I mean, if you were out camping and it was dark and you heard noises, you could definitely think about this kind of a film. Really, you could. So we learned that the zombies were created by this agricultural machine that does these radioactive waves as a pesticide, and that machine hit the people and it caused them to become zombies. That's the whole story behind it. Really clever and really fun. So the people that are in charge of all of these deaths are wondering what is going on. So they don't think it's zombies, obviously. They think that these two people did it all. So these characters are fighting to survive and not get attacked and killed by zombies, and also prove their innocence at the same time. So there's kind of two things going on. And this huge showdown happens at the Manchester Morgue. Anyway, this one's like visually stunning, amazing, fun, scary, thrilling. A super, super, super amazing cult classic, and you got to check it out. Next up, we have Let's Scare Jessica to Death from 1971. Let's Scare Jessica to Death from 1971. A recently institutionalized woman has bizarre experiences after moving into an alleged haunted country farmhouse. Directed by John Hancock, starring Zora Lambert and Barton Heyman. I really love this one, and I highly recommend that you check it out. So, Jessica is just recently released from a mental hospital, and she's picked up by her husband, and I can't remember, it's a guy. There's a guy, brother or brother-in-law or something like that, friend, and they go to move into this old house where they're going to kind of start fresh and see if they can get back on their feet again. And there's this squatter there, this girl, and she's not supposed to be there, and they catch her, and they decide they're going to kick her out. And she didn't realize that someone was living there. So she apologizes, but then they end up kind of feeling bad for her and say, you know what, just stay. And she ends up flirting with the guys. All kinds of crazy stuff starts happening. Jessica starts to hear voices and things again, and she's not sure if she's going crazy again or if there's something weird happening here. It ends up being a really crazy, plot twisty kind of story that in the end was really fun. And I couldn't figure out what was going on all the way through until the reveal at the end. But yeah, it was so good. And it's very haunting. It's very beautiful. The story is kind of unique and fun, and it's really not what you expect. So the girl is named Emily, and she has a seance with them at the start when they're all hanging out and drinking and dining, and she's playing music on the guitar and whatnot, and she's just kind of sucking them in and getting them to really be invested in her. And through that, we learn more about her past and her family history and whatnot. There's some weird stuff going on in the town and that kind of thing. And anyhow, it's just a really charming movie, and it's spooky and haunting. And if you're into that kind of thing, then I recommend that you watch it. And last up, we have Demon Witch Child from 1975. Demon Witch Child from 1975. A police chief's young daughter becomes the unsuspecting victim of gypsy witches out to resurrect the spirit of their dead leader. Directed by Armando de Osorio, starring Marianne Salgado and Laura Fleming, aka The Possessed. This one was banned in some countries back then, and it's visually stunning and very quirky, which seems to be the theme with all of these films that I'm kind of telling you about this evening. But it really is. It's one of those movies, and I watched this a couple of years ago. I rewatched it again recently, and I loved it. And this one's dubbed in English, so that might not be your jam, but I was totally fine with it. Didn't bother me at all. So essentially the story goes, we have this old witch, and she's put in jail, and she ends up dying there, and she puts a curse on the people that captured her and jailed her. So one of the men, his daughter, gets possessed by the witch, and there has to be an exorcism and everything, and there's lots of kills and crazy things that happen, and it's very scary and very weird and quirky. There's a lot of gore and shock value, but it's really quirky and good at the same time. The acting is really overdramatic, which adds to it too. I love that about foreign films though, sometimes. And it just kind of all works together if you're into that kind of thing. It's definitely a weird, strange kind of film, but it's just gorgeously filmed. Really beautiful, really pleasant on the eyes, if you will. And yeah, if you're into that kind of thing, I highly recommend that you check it out. You can't go wrong watching any of these films, but let me know your thoughts. Thanks for hanging out on the Spirits and Screams YouTube channel. My name is Karen, and you can support the channel by liking, subscribing, and dropping your long comments below because you know I love to chat. I'll see you again on the next one. And remember, when you're watching horror movies, don't forget to scream responsibly. Have a good night, you guys.